Puerto Rican kid, bald head, loves snakes, loves Blizzy, Sergio Chacon.
Yeah. What up, Pa?
Peace. Welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon, aka Blizzy Chacon. That shit whack. I mean, it's always gonna be dirtbag shit podcast. The DBS podcast. Peace and welcome to the DBS podcast. It's your boy Sergio Chacon in the mix. Be Frank Network. We are here now, loud and clear. Sound Lounge, we appreciate you. I'm here with my girl, Meg Fernandes. Meg, how are you, my dear?
I'm doing really well. Thank you, Sergio.
Oh my God, you look lovely. How are you?
Thank you. I'm going to try and move from my sex voice to my normal voice right now.
You have a sex voice?
I mean, yeah. You couldn't tell. That's like super unsexy.
It's like, like, that's why people get it. Who was the originator of the sexy voice? Was it Marilyn Monroe?
I mean, I think it's as old as time, probably. But
Marilyn Monroe sounded like a baby.
Well, you mean because you don't like to infantilize women? That's not a thing that the patriarchy likes to do. Starting out strong. There we are. All right, see, now this is my normal voice.
Wait, but yeah. Marilyn Monroe was always like, goo goo gaga. I'm very pretty.
She was pretty. She was also an excellent actress.
She was also a heroin user.
She was learned. Who's not, honestly? Let's not pass judgment. She was also learned. You know, she liked to read. You know that? Is
that what do you call someone who's an avid reader? Learned?
Yeah, learned.
Shit, that's why I love you, because you are a wordsmith. You are a poet. You are a philosopher. And you're an educator.
Yeah, we're out here at Tompkins Park talking philosophy.
And you're also one of my boxing students.
This is true.
And you've come a long way, and I'm very proud of you.
We don't need to go into all that. We don't need to talk about...
We're going to bring out the footage of Megan throwing a hook.
Yeah, the beginning.
So you're interested in... doing the podcast. She's been interested in doing the podcast. She's been begging me for weeks.
What? First of all, fuck you. I have not said this. I've called you on how many women you bring on here. I have called you on that.
Yo. So Mara, who's also another podcaster here, great comic, funny, has what the hell is the name of her podcast? H&E and Muscle Spasms. She told me the same thing.
Yeah. You love your bros. I get it.
That's not true. You know what it is? I was raised by women. All the people I train are women. Can I get a break?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I will say that I've noticed.
It's not a conscious effort. It just kind of falls that way.
No, women feel really safe around you. I think that's a good thing. Women and also fitness culture is a place where women have to feel comfortable and safe. And I think that says a lot about you.
I appreciate that. Ladies. And the thing is, I'd never thought about that until... someone who I trained brought that up to me, and you're the second person to say that.
Yeah.
So that's a thing, right? Some women walk into a gym and they're like, this place is gross. These guys are like looking at me.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up, because I don't know if you've ever been to like a spin studio, which is like garbage. It's like all these spaces that are super infantilizing to women, and they're like, be empowered. But like, it just kind of feels like they're talking to you like you're an idiot. Yeah. That's what's nice about a boxing gym. But the thing about a boxing gym is like you walk in and you're a woman. Sometimes there's like a lot of testosterone in the room, and it can feel a little bit like uncomfortable.
Right.
You make a space, which is really nice, which I think is why all these...
So you're trying to say I'm feminine?
I'm trying
You're trying to say that I could be gay?
No, first of all, it's fine if you're gay. Would love that for you. Would see that transition.
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I could see that for you.
My wife still thinks, she's like, I'm not sure about you. And it's fine. I've accepted you regardless of but it is a problem if I'm married to you and you're interested in the other side.
No, I think, you guys seem like you have a solid marriage. So I think she'd just be like, yeah, give it a shot. We don't know.
Yeah, she's like, give it a shot.
Let's get her in here.
She's in a soft pretzel, like, I'll do your thing.
It's fine, yeah. You guys got like a fucking mortgage and a kid together. You know what I mean? Like,
paid in full, no mortgage here.
Oh, he's responsible. He's a good father.
I guess you assumed I was in debt with a mortgage because I'm Puerto Rican.
Oh, wow. First of all, I rent and I'm in a super illegal housing situation. So I got no place to talk right now.
Are you in a dirtbag housing situation?
I'm in a super illegal housing situation.
Yeah, I've been to your apartment before. It is fly.
It is
Fireplace.
nice. And let me tell you, it is super illegal housing situation, which like at any moment could completely fall apart and is basically based on this fact that like a friend of mine doesn't need it because she has a girlfriend upstate.
Right.
And every time she talks about her girlfriend, I'm like, you know who's amazing? Jamie, you should stay with her forever.
Right.
So that
but she's like, my wife lives down here and I need to be closer to her.
Yeah. So anyways, so it's possible I'm going to completely lose that place, but it is really nice. I do have a fireplace.
A fireplace.
Yeah.
That's romantical.
Yeah. It's super romantical in there.
Oh.
Let's not get into that. Are you going to edit this shit?
Hell, motherfucker, no.
No!
We going uncut and raw.
No, we're not doing that. Right? I'll just say something really inappropriate right now.
Go for it. Spike these listens, these views up.
I was going to make a really dirty joke about this earlier, but I didn't know your boy. So he was like, just put it here on the side. I was like, I know all the orientations. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about our very lovely and helpful producer Steve.
his name?
I thought you were talking about Ian, the comic who was right before you.
Oh,
because you can't offend or outbody him when it comes to inappropriateness.
Oh yeah, I mean I've met comics before.
Yeah.
Y'all are like a special kind of fucked up, you know.
I'm offended. I'm offended. Mm-hmm. And I
got the receipts.
and this is supposed to be a safe space.
Sorry.
And I feel like you interrupted that.
Listen, first of all, there's no
Which, by the way,
there is no such thing as a safe space.
I hate the new age jargon.
Yeah, because we're old. That's
So would you use? So the thing I like, I enjoy about you is that.
Be specific.
Okay, I'll be very specific. Is that we can talk about present day ills with the Me Too movement, with the cancel culture and everything like that, and you kind of give me a good glimpse of both sides of it. I could be a little bit like, and you're like, well, this is the reason. So you kind of give me a different perspective on things. That's why I thought you would be a great guest.
Yeah. Okay. You want to get into it?
Yeah. So for example, how do you feel when it comes to shit like that? Like, I hate the jargon.
Yeah.
Like, safe space, and I hate to use that voice because maybe, are you doing a woman's voice? No, it's just like safe space. I hate that. Mm-hmm. Can we do without the jargon? How do you feel? Like, is it necessary? Or the narrative? The narrative is way overused. Narrative, safe space, triggered. I'm triggered. What the fuck? You know, I came from the hood where we saw real triggers being popped off. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now
you see my tone? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's like a teacher. Okay, first of all, a lot of that speak is like super institutional, neoliberal. It sounds like it's coming from like a human resources department.
Right.
And I resent that. I don't like the idea that like so much of the framework around issues of like harassment and like assault and all that stuff are like just only within a legal context. So they kind of seem like what they're trying to do is protect the institution. That's what I don't like it. Second of all, like that shit can then just be used for like, you know how that's like, it's easy. It's like a slippery slope of like that shit can be used for like censorship. Like I don't want some conservative ass parent like writing to my school and being like, you can't teach this sensitive like poetry book or something, because I know those motherfuckers are going to do that, right? So what I think is like you can have a safe space, but like, and you can like create a fucking classroom, or like you're an instructor, a space where like people feel safe like in your presence. That doesn't have to anything to do necessarily with the jargon of it. Like it's kind of like not something that can be really put into language. I guess this is like a failure of language. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
100.
Right.
Yeah. And I also don't believe in like shaming. One, I don't think anybody actually really gets canceled. Like, seems like people just like get a lot of shit on the internet and then they come back and it's fine.
It's like people get put on timeout. They go to the corner.
Time out, and I'm just like, also, I just don't really believe in shame culture. I don't think shame is pedagogically useful. Mm-hmm. In my life, I've never felt that way. You know, that word means like to want to get cover at the moment one is like exposed. It has that dual meaning. It means like shelter. That's where the word comes from, shame, you know? So like there's something about that where I'm like, why doesn't this feel like justice to me? And I don't have an answer for that, but I know right now that like when I see it, Doesn't feel like
And I feel all of the shit needs to come out and happen. You know, obviously, I'm in support of, you know, Me Too. People, everyone has to have a voice if they're a victim of, you know, of some sort of misogynistic behavior or something. Come out, and I think it's all happening so radically that it is kind of hard to get control of or give it the justice that it needs. It just seems very like, oh, it's you know, a cult mentality. If someone picks you, they're on your ass, and there's like no returning, and there is more shaming involved than kind of fixing the problem.
Well,
does that make sense?
Let me push a little back at you.
Yeah.
See, you can't see it this right now, but I'm pointing at him. But
It's on camera. This is gonna be
okay. Oh, it's on camera.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. This is on the good side.
I didn't. You know, if I would have known that, I would have worn my blue cardigan.
Exactly. I'm wearing actually a really dope jacket right now.
It is a dope jacket.
Yeah, you haven't
it pops.
said anything about it.
That's my favorite color too.
Oh, what, green?
Yeah.
Snaky green?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so let me push back a little and say that, you know, it's not because I think like women or people of color, right, don't have the space to do that or shouldn't do that. It's that, like, I don't want to reproduce the same shit that like white supremacy is doing or toxic masculinity doing, which y'all are fucking like A+ in shame, you know? Like you know.
Well,
shame
who's A+ in shame?
What I'm saying is those like groups,
okay,
right? As groups that maybe are part of some larger whatever,
right.
like they know shame. Like, what's the point of like reproducing the same thing that you're trying to critique? It's like the same people who have abolition on one side of their mouth and then are super punitive and criminalizing on the other side of their mouth. That doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what to make of that contradiction. I'm just like a little wary of it.
Yeah.
You know? Does that make sense?
I'm a little confused.
Say more.
No, tell me. I want you to explain a little further.
Okay, so for example, like people on the internet, I'll give you an example on like poetry.
Give me an example.
So this is dude in poetry. Like, she's a poet. Nobody gives a shit except for the people who are in poetry. He fucked up and like wrote this like incredibly, really bad, also racist poem, right? The editors, they published it in this publication. Everyone started piling on social media. I mean, like everybody. And I was like sitting there being like, yeah, that poem's really fucked up. And it was super racist. But at some point, after like the 100th person had said something, I was kind of like, what are we doing now? Because, you know, like how are we turning this into a learning experience? At some point, it just started to feel like the voyeurism of being punitive, as opposed to, right, feeling like we were like that person was in a space where they were acknowledging what they did, you know, and then like maybe there's some sort of justice or reparative action,
right?
You know,
right?
I don't know. Like I don't want to be part of that either. Like I can't really do that. But also because I'm a person with contradictions, you're a person with contradictions. You know, we've all lived and grown up in the world. Like I don't want to think that any person is beyond reform, because politically and emotionally, I can't do that. I'm against that, you know?
We all are made up of contradictions, for real. I mean, I could be fighting for women's rights on one side of the spectrum, like, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on in Montana, women being abducted and murdered and everything. Mm-hmm. And then I watch the most disgusting porn and I feel guilty that same night.
Porn is different. I'm just kidding. A lot of people are wow, I didn't think we were going to jump down
But
this
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're all made up of that. What I've allowed myself to feel is feel it all.
Yeah.
You know, I know where my core stands, but I don't like, and you hear this is another part of it, the witch hunt for certain people and hammering it. Like, I got to really know inside out what's going on. If something is just, oh, this person did this, and the way people jump on it, I think it's really irresponsible. And I could use a specific case, for example, and it's a little old right now, but with the Louis C.K. thing, what he did was super dirtbag, and it's a little old. I get it. I know the story's a little old, but it's still interesting to me that he lost he lost you know, his show. He lost certain things. I mean, what he did, who decides whether or not that's criminal? It's super dirtbaggy, super inappropriate,
right?
But you know. Is it illegal?
How many dicks do you see on a weekly basis?
I don't know.
Having seen a lot of dicks in New York, like out in the public world, having been
But like who?
flashlight,
Like what is? How does something like that get repaired by this taken away? And like this is what happens if you do this, because he's not jailed and he's being punished by taking away his work. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't know if the conversation needs to be pushed a little further. Like you can't do this because you're a man in power, and this maybe one or two of these women that you did this work for you, so you put them in a very weird position. Why don't you? We want to persuade you, push you to go to counseling to unravel these and pull the layers back. I don't know if that was ever a thing. It was like, we're gonna take this from you, and how dare you, you pig? You know.
Yeah. Then I'll push back and say also, right? Like these things are so decriminalized, right?
Yeah.
I would love to live in a world where if I didn't want to see a dick, I didn't have to see a dick,
right?
Because a dick out of context is not pretty.
So you've seen many dicks like without
my permission? Yes. Yes.
How many?
Make a dick map of
how
this
many
city.
a year?
Oh my God. I mean, listen, I think the last dick I saw pre-pandemic was on 14th Street at that
Union
Cuban
Square.
diner. No, it was Cuban diner, like closer to 6.
Okay.
I was in the window, I was with my friend, Kat Pond. Oh shit, I shouldn't have said her name. Whatever. My friend Kat, who's like beautiful woman. I was with my friend Judith, also beautiful. She was having
Judith? That is
what the that's my closest friend, Sergio.
Yeah, Sergio's
Really?
a romantic name. Sergio sounds like he pulls up on a white horse. Judith sounds like she has a mole right here. And I'm sure she's a lovely woman.
She is gorgeous, and you're gonna
What's her background?
She is Moroccan and Israeli.
With Judith?
Judith, Moroccan Israeli, Sephardic.
Oh, yeah, Judith. Mm-hmm. That name is heavy.
Juju
Okay.
Bean, as I call her. I've known her since I was 5. I'm the godmother of her child.
How'd you? You know, it says you go way back.
We go way.
You go in the same tub.
We go way
bathing.
back. Same tub. Yeah, way back. Babies. Anyways, we're at this diner, right?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to touch you.
Canceled.
I just got canceled.
Anyways, so we're at this diner. She's like, Judith's heavily pregnant, sitting next to me. My girl Kat
Is she married?
across. She's married.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very inappropriate.
Why don't you? Wow, it's
I'm
coming
kidding.
out
I'm kidding.
Right now.
You crazy? You know how many married women I got
A
pregnant?
little too comfortable in that fucking armchair. Like he's real comfortable.
I've never behaved like this way. It's like interesting. When the mic is in your face, you act like a complete jerk.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it is actually. I just want you to know that as a teacher, as an instructor, he's not like that. We're at this diner. Mm-hmm. Guy starts jerking off outside on the window.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, here we go. And I'm just also like, kind of like, I'm just trying to fucking eat some pancakes, you know.
Who goes to a Cuban restaurant to eat pancakes?
It's a diner.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a diner.
I thought it was a Cuban spot.
The Cubans can do a lot, all right? Okay. I don't know what. Anyways.
Yeah, and they can also vote for Trump, which is very interesting. Florida Cubans, good job.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Y'all need to fix your fucking shit.
For real.
This guy's jerking off. It's like fucking 4 p.m. It's daylight. You know?
Right.
Yeah, it's like afternoon flashing.
Did he make eye contact with you?
I didn't look up at him, so I was like trying. I was just literally there. But I gotta
always
say,
weird when you just
the
see, like,
dick was like in line with the table, if that gives you a sense of like you can't not see it.
Right.
So Kat gets up and like runs out after him. And she like chases him down because Kat is like not fucking anyone. You know?
That's hilarious how people respond differently at the sight of a dick.
Yeah.
I would, yeah.
But then Kat comes back and she's like, I can't believe this guy was like jerking off to us. And she was only looking at me. She wasn't looking at my friend Judith, who then was like, I think he was jerking off to all of us because she was like feeling left out. She was like pregnant. I'm like, that's what I mean about the contradictions of like patriarchy, where it was like, so I was like, Judith, that's gross. But also it was just like hilarious that I was like, whatever. What I'm saying is that like dicks out of context, yes, or it's assaultive, but it's like decriminalized, and it shouldn't be decriminalized because like I don't want to see a dick that I didn't sign up to see ahead of time, you know?
Right. See, that's a good. I feel like. How do we get the explanation to people? Like, does someone like Louis C.K. does he learn his lesson, or does he feel like, oh, I can't do that again because I'll lose money, or does he realize the effect it does have on people? You know what I'm saying? Or we don't know that as an individual. We just don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like, but then that's like a weird thing. Like, did you learn your lesson? The fuck does that even look like?
Right.
You know, we're not school teachers. And like, I don't know, like reflection is important. Maybe like Aziz, if you saw his new special or whatever, like after his thing, like I was a little dissatisfied with that. But like,
why he didn't talk about the allegations or the controversy?
Kind of did, but he was like, it just made me feel terrible. And it made me rethink every date I've ever been on. But I remember when I read that piece, I was like, so resistant to wanting to think about it as an assault, because if I did that, I would have to think about so many situations of sexual situations in which I had been, and would have to admit to myself that, yeah, those were like fucked up and those were assaultive, right? Like, I think like we're trying to like change the vocabulary of like, what is the most compassionate like way to be with and have relationality with other people. That's like, and like, deep empathy. Like people are like, whatever, you can't like flirt anymore, kid. Of course you can. Like flirtation like actually requires like deep understanding of the other person, like knowing what will make them laugh, knowing how to like whatever. The other thing is this other shit, right? Like that's like not giving a shit about what that person's about.
Right.
Like treating them like they're inanimate, like they could be any object of retaliation.
Yes.
For whatever you feel emasculated about.
I remember feeling that way when I used to do construction. Isn't that ironic? That would be construction workers. And when I first started working for a plumbing company, my mother, I was writing poetry. Believe it or not, I used to write poetry.
You used to write poetry?
Yeah,
I was in that?
Yeah.
I love that.
I wanted to bring some of my work to the real poet, but I couldn't find anything, and I'm sure it's awful. But my mother told me, she sat me down, and she said, listen, I'm not sure if you're going to like this sort of work, but it has the potential of paying a lot of money, and, but the culture of these guys is not something I'm into. So I don't want you getting into habits of hollering at women. Everything I heard about your mom told me that. My mother told me that. She sat me down and she said, don't fall into that bullshit. She said, do your job. At your lunch break, read a book, write your poetry. And I was like, okay.
That. How old were you?
I was 30. No, I'm kidding.
It was last year.
Charlie's 9 now. Charlie's my daughter. Charlie's 9 now. Now, I would say 19, 19, 20. But it was definitely, that culture. I was like, yo. And I remember dudes hitting on women, and it was more to like embarrass them sometimes.
Yeah. What's that about?
Yeah, I don't know. And I would tell them, I'm like, yo, why would you do that? Like what inspires? I wouldn't even say it like that. I was like, why you holler at her? And when she responds back, you don't say anything. Because there was one time, and he was a friend of mine. We were both. I guess apprentice, what you consider apprentice, like they're on the apprenticeship program at this plumbing company. And he would always holler at this male woman in front of the job site. And I was like, yo, she ignores you time and time again. Why do you And one day she says, I'm listening. What's up? What do you want to talk about? And then he got embarrassed.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it was just like, yeah, you got what you wanted, or didn't you? So it made me feel like he just did that to show off in front of his coworkers, his friends,
his dudes.
His dudes, so weird.
But that's the thing. Anytime you have a lot of dudes together, whether it's like a construction site or like any place, there's a lot of dudes. Like whenever I see like a group of like teenage boys, I just like fucking cross the street. I'm I don't want to be the plot device for whatever is happening there. Because psychologically, y'all, like that's the thing. Like the toxic masculinity shit, like fucks you all up. Right. Like you're all suffering underneath that.
Right. So, with everything with the catcalling thing, I just feel like that shit needed to be done. Yeah. Because it was, I have, I grew up, my mother and my sister. And my mother, I remember this one time, my sister was like 13 years old. We just moved to 3rd Street. I was like 9 at the time. I was upstairs in the apartment. My mother's walking with my sister, and they walked by a deli, and this guy tried to kiss my sister, like an old drunk man. And my mother got into a fight with this dude. And I remember my mom being so pissed off and livid about that. And I was like, it affected, like, her energy and and how I perceived people who behave like that in the street.
Yeah.
And with all that knowledge, knowing all that, I feel the campaign is needed. But I also feel like some people are getting in trouble when they shouldn't be getting in trouble. And I don't have anyone in particular. I just feel like it's a little bit it's like free range for anybody. Like I feel like people got to be extra careful now. Do you feel that, or or you think it's for the most part?
Well, it's hard on this side because on this side I'm just like,
listen,
I don't give I really don't give two shits about most men feeling a little bit nervous. I feel nervous walking home all the time. There's shit I can't do just because I'm a woman.
Right.
There's like literally, and this is the thing that I think people need to understand. Like the violence is not abstract. Every woman I know has like a story of a friend or, you saw, I don't know if you saw that Promising Young Woman movie. You should watch it. It's kind of interesting. But like what I'm saying is like everybody I know knows the calculus of what you have to do to like get home late at night if you're by yourself. What if you're on a subway car and there's just you and one other dude, right? Like your Uber driver is like just being fucking weird and like asking you weird questions. Like every woman I know has to know that. So like the fact that like maybe some dudes now are like a little nervous and have to like do the calculus of like understanding how they talk to women, how they be around women, like y'all do the work, there is part of me. I mean, I understand a little bit like what you're saying, but like what I'm against about what is related to what you're saying is like, I'm against shaming, right? I'm against shaming and I'm more against the pleasure that people get out of shaming. That I'm against. Am I against? No.
And there's a lot of that.
There's a difference between justice and shame. That's what I mean. And I just want, I want justice. I want things to feel just.
Yeah.
I don't want things to feel like we're getting like people.
I think the shaming part of it is a byproduct of a movement that needs to happen, and it's great, but it's just a small percentage of that shit is happening, and it's really amplified in different ways.
But like, what if like you and like all the people you knew, right, like got into a room and had like a discussion about like why do we holler at women? Because I think that we all think about that as like jokey and light.
I don't see that shit done anymore.
But like, right, like the thing is like, like what if y'all got like, not you, but like what if men got into the room together and they were like, what's actually at the seat of this? What's like, what's at like the unconscious level?
Well, my most ignorant friends, and this is way back in the days, because I don't have any friends who behave that way.
Yeah.
But back in the days I did. And I asked, they said, oh, they like that. I said, they don't like that. Like, I guarantee you they don't like that. But there are some girls who do. And it might be young girls. Like, but for the most part, but that's a byproduct of the bullshit, right?
Well,
like,
that's also patriarchy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, to say that women like that is bullshit. Like,
did you think this podcast is going to be really fun? I
can
see your face. You're like, oh God, I know. I don't want to be like.
No, I'm having a great time.
Okay, good.
I thought this is an important thing to discuss.
Yeah.
know. I know. So.
Well, you also got like, okay, so you got a daughter now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you learning about that from raising a daughter? Like how
I don't know. I don't see that. Also like
She's little.
My the way I think about this shit, I really go by energy and my interaction with everyday people. I don't really get too involved with that. Like what's going on. I really, even though we're talking about like different movements and shifts and what's happening in society and how it's all coming together. When I think about my daughter, I never think like. I have friends of mine who've had daughters like, oh yeah, they talk like they're from the 1930s. Got to get the shotgun by the front. I'm like, what is that? Like you got to protect it. I'm like, I don't think about that. I'm gonna raise my daughter, and she's gonna be confident. She's gonna be well aware. I'm gonna do my best to just expose us to a lot of different things and kind of let the pieces fall how they will. What's the word I'm looking for? The phrase I'm looking for.
Naturally, as they were, organically.
Yeah. I'm not gonna, manipulate like you're not going outside or I have to meet your boyfriend. I don't even think about that shit.
I mean, let me just tell you, I don't think you would be that intimidating as a father.
I got an overbite. Anytime you show your teeth, you're not intimidating. Look. I look like I'm always in a good mood.
Yeah, you do look like you're in a good mood. That makes you jolly. You always look jolly.
Right.
But I will say, like, what I meant was like, I had this friend just posted this shit like on Facebook, which is basically the suburbs of social media.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, my daughter in the middle of her Zoom class was like, hey, Jack, I think you don't need to answer every question. like the mansplaining starts early. The kid's like 7. So what I mean also about like having a daughter is like it's interesting to see like this generation like kind of like, you know, like this generation meaning whatever your daughter's age, right? Like they're kind of they do take that in. I do think they like take it in that like they don't actually have to listen to Jack. Jack doesn't know shit, you know. Right. Which I kind of like. I like that. Like that seems to be one of the best things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This shift.
Yeah. So you know that's the way. I don't get caught up with. Or you know, this the way she's gonna behave around men, or I don't trust. You know, I just feel, however it kind of falls into place.
Well, you say you go by energy. Like, say more what you mean by that.
Meaning,
you know who you vibe with and who you don't.
Yeah, and I could just surround myself around shit that feels good. I take part in things that I enjoy. And that's it. And everything else, and I do with passion, right? So things I'm interested in, I do with all I got. And then everything else, all the bullshit that you might be faced with, I feel like the confidence is built from those other playing fields that I can handle. My stomach just growled. I need some McDonald's. I'm a trainer who wants McDonald's today.
Yeah, I saw your fridge, by the way. It's like full of like water, La Croix, and like vodka.
Well, this is not my apartment. Okay, my real fridge looks nothing of the sort. Kale. Which, by the way, when I did that home session in your apartment, I saw. I didn't go in your fridge, but although I was tempted to go in there.
You could have gone in the fridge.
Yeah,
there's like Brita water.
Yeah, Brita water that's like just a half inch.
Yeah, I don't refill it. You know?
Which, by the way, there's probably a bunch of food in there because you are quite the chef. Yeah, I mean, you were cooking for the Overthrow community fridge, plant-based food, which is annoying. Maybe people want to eat meat. They're like,
listen, I also make meat meal preps for a different fridge, but for the plant place, you know, you got to do for whatever.
Yeah, so you're partaking in that. But see, this is the ADD kicking in. I should be the host controlling the conversation. I'm already jumping in. I feel like we just reversed roles right here.
Sorry, no, I was like asking you questions. I wasn't sure who was in charge, so you know. I just want to make sure that we touch on you and the community fridge because I was very impressed with how many plates of food you cooked up. That was the entire fridge. If you saw it, it was yeah. But on the other hand, let me just say, like after the summer in the city, you know, we both live here. The city has seen some shit.
Yeah.
And I work in like academia, which is like extremely, I think it's a very radical place, but it's actually incredibly like institutionally conservative. So this is what I mean. They use the same language of like inclusion and diversity and like they want to change things in the college, but like most of these places are in neighborhoods where they don't even know what the needs are of the people who they're sharing the same streets with, you know?
Right.
And like that kind of compulsive protagonism, which, you know, I'm going to cop to. Like before the pandemic, I was like, what's on my CV? Like I need, you know, like
what's on your what?
CV. Like I'm always like trying to like get like what I'm saying is like I was really aware in New York, like living in New York as a lot of people are my age of like, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Do I have enough? Am I successful enough? Right? Yeah. You know that. Like
we talked about that in the past. And what's weird about all this is, you know, so when we were in the midst of this COVID and all the Black Lives Matter protests were going on. It was just funny to see like corporations trying to take part.
Oh my God.
And it was like so
Bank of America.
Yeah, cringeworthy. They're like, yeah, let's just throw African garb.
Like the kente cloth, and also just like Bank of America gives a shit about. That's what I mean. Like people will try and co-opt what might be like politically radical about that thing. But when you're in that space and like, okay, that's like my job and my feeling is like I'm always like, you know, like it's like really all about yourself. And I think like last summer was this reckoning as it was for a lot of people, even though I always thought I was like a very politically left person. I was always doing the right thing but it was really in a very small community. Right. It was always like my college students, right? But like, you know,
but that's what really matters because when you throw yourself like in a community of people like protesting, they're annoying. Not all of them bathe. They're
Stop.
You know how many of those fucking protesters had hairy armpits and they smell like tuna fish?
First of all,
I will say they all have
don't
masks on.
body shame people's hair choices, all right?
In my last episode, I talked about how I hate big hair follicles.
Okay. That's a really specific
But I like cellulite.
objection.
I like cellulite, but I don't like big hair follicles.
Okay, well, I wasn't looking that closely, like with a magnifying glass at these protesters' hair follicles.
Yeah, and you know what? Let me tell you something about these protests. I was there marching with my pit bull Curry, and a cop almost came and popped my head off because I had a dog, a pit on the march, and I didn't react. I didn't get crazy.
Hold on, I got an award here in the bag for you. There you go. There
No. What I'm saying is, I marched my ass off, and I don't know how these young people do it because I'm old. I'm older than those protests. Most of those protests, my bunions were on fire, and I did it.
Yeah, you did it. You should have had that on your sign. I'm here, even with the bunions and the pit bull, and I'm not even overreacting to the cops. No.
So that's my bad. I marched with bunions, but listen. If you're gonna march, make sure
good shoe wear.
Yeah, and the organic deodorant doesn't work.
It does not work. Yeah, what do you use? Old Spice?
Why? Because I look like I'm 55-year-old Italian man.
Listen, don't knock Old Spice, all right? Like Old Spice is kind of like it's the democratic deodorant.
So we know what kind of men you like if you like Old Spice.
Literally, I will use Old Spice. Like kind of men. What are you talking about?
I think my daughter and my wife wear Old Spice actually.
Yeah. So women with good taste is what you're saying.
Old Spice sounds to me like it belongs to like a 50-year-old.
I have like a really fancy deodorant. It's like some fancy ass like Yves Saint Laurent.
What are
you looking at my shit? I invite you into my house.
Yeah, and I was definitely in the medicine cabinet. I was like, oh, that's an interesting rash. I'll be sure not to.
I have no rashes. He's lying. He's lying through his teeth. I do have like organic toothpaste. What can I say? I'm that bitch.
You're culturally ambiguous. When I first met you, I was like, is she South Asian? And then your last name was Fernandes. I'm like, yo, she's mad difficult and annoying. I'm gonna have to ask her, what are you? And you're South Asian, but your family's from Portuguese? How does that work? Because Fernandez is usually with a Z and yours is with an S.
Goa, you know Goa, right? Part of India, it's like
Goya beans?
Goa. Part of India that was colonized by the Portuguese. So that is like where the Portuguese last names come from, but my parents are actually from East Africa. They're from Tanzania. Okay. And that was like a different like migration. It's just like complicated. Basically, I grew up outside Philly. but the long history is like my parents are like East African Indians.
Well, you know what? You're a cool motherfucker. You're like really down to earth and chill. And most of the South Asians I've dealt with in my life, we might have to edit this. We might have to edit this. Have been very festive and fun. They have the best weddings.
Really?
Something tells me that you don't want to get married.
Oh my God.
That you're a free spirit and you're like an independent, like, nah, I don't want to be shackled to any man in this world.
First of all, we're going to edit all this out. And see, I actually interesting, like counter to your experiences, like it's been interesting having some like reckonings with the South Asian community. And,
How so?
Because I think there needs to be a lot more conversations in the South Asian community.
South Asians are very tight-knitted. I like the Hasidic Jews.
Yeah, and like also like there's a lot of like weird like aspirational whiteness in the South and a lot of South Asian communities.
And you guys think you're better than everyone because you're all doctors. Edit that!
Don't edit that because my parents are devastated that I'm not a doctor.
All my South Asian friends are doctors, except you. And I like you the most.
Yeah, thank you. Well, good. You like me the most. My parents are like deeply disappointed.
Were they really pushing for you to be a doctor?
For sure, yeah.
Yo.
I mean, my dad, not my mom. My mom was cooler about it, but my dad.
Can you give your dad? So your mom is cool with it. Your dad was like, "Ugh."
I mean, of the choices I've made, my mom is not usually cool with most of the things, but she's cool with that. She's cool with that. You know, she's cool. Yeah.
That's so funny. That they that culture is known for that.
Yeah, they're known for fun weddings and
that's a great stereotype though, to be a doctor.
Okay, so
you heard the stereotypes of Puerto Ricans, right? Why don't you share?
The overbite?
2 mics.
Is it the overbite?
No, I'm half shark.
Oh.
I'm a shark boy.
You got that look.
Someone called me a shark.
Eyelashes? What's the thing?
Oh yeah, the eyelashes. You know what I used to do? See, the ADD is kicking in. Which, by the way, it has
great in makeup. I'm just saying.
So I used to do this because there's this girl that's like, oh my God, you have nice eyelashes. But the reason why she thought they were nice because I went like this. I put my fingers right here and I went like this. And I pressed and I closed my eyes.
You know, there's like a curler thing for that.
Yeah, but I did it with my fingers, right? Pre-COVID. And so look how high they are now.
Yeah, they're real high.
Yeah. So I used to do that before my dates.
Because she was real into that.
Because she was really into my eyes.
Yeah.
And she also plucked my unibrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of unibrow, you've got this tattoo.
I got Frida Kahlo. This is a forearm?
Yeah.
You're a doctor. Oh, you're not.
Oh,
So
fuck
you
off.
don't know.
I think this is the. Is this the
Yeah, what the fuck is this? I should know. I'm a personal trainer.
Yeah, you should know. You should. Do you know what the muscle is there?
You're breaking up. We have a bad connection here at the studio.
Anyways, he has this tattoo where he doesn't.
Frida Kahlo without the unibrow. And I said, man, you want to get on my forearm, you better pluck that shit.
Yeah, but you know, it's iconic.
Yeah,
every
but-
time I see it, I want to take a marker and just like fill it in. You know?
Okay, so maybe we'll take a walk to the tattoo shop and we'll fill it in.
Let's do it. I'll pay for it right after this. I'm not joking. Let's do it. Let's
I got
give the people
dirtbag
what
tattoos.
they want.
Do you have any tattoos?
I have 0 tattoos.
You don't have henna tattoos?
No, I'm just like, I mean, occasionally, but they come off, you know.
When you go to the
I
weddings?
really thought about getting tattoos, but the problem is I just can't.
Let's get one on H Street at St. Mark's. I'm sure there's legit spots there.
If you get the thing, I'll get a tattoo after this.
Well, this is a self-portrait. She did it herself without the unibrow. So why would I compromise her artistic?
Oh, yeah. Women have their own, agency. Megan, fuck off. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. So you have the whitest first name and the most Puerto Rican last name. But yeah, you're Farsi. You're South Asian.
Well, not Farsi, but South Asian. Yeah.
I thought you said you were Farsi. What's Farsi exactly?
Yeah, you tell me. You just call me. You just call me on it. Seems like you really know.
Yeah.
You're like, you're Urdu. Like, tell me about it. I'm like, you tell me about it.
I said that shit with confidence.
Really, you say a lot of
You would
things
think I was the one who drank tonight.
No, I mean, first of all, can I just say I drank like 2 drinks before this?
Did
I
you?
was super,
I was joking.
I was just nervous.
Were you?
Yeah, I chugged like 2 glasses of like champagne before this.
Oh
So I
my
was like,
God.
oh.
That is adorable.
Because
by
I
the way.
didn't know. I'm like, I know what I'm like in real life, but I don't know what I'm going to be like on the air.
I know you will absolutely be amazing. You're so much fun. I'm so happy I have you on. And I hate the fact that we only have an hour. We're only like 20 minutes in, so we got lots of time.
20 minutes in?
Let's see.
No, I think we've been
I'm
talking
kidding.
for a long time.
Okay, it feels like 20 minutes
Let me
because I'm
ask you
having
a
a good time.
question.
Well, no, I want to ask you.
Oh, okay.
So with the cultural dilemma between with the South Asians, how else have you suffered?
How much have I suffered?
But you guys got the bomb weddings. I'm talking about 400 people. COVID don't mean nothing.
Listen, my cousin who got married in India, she had 900 people at her wedding.
That is dirtbag.
Yeah. I had the best dress. Sorry,
Ooh,
Nicole.
I bet you look good.
Yeah.
You act like it was your wedding.
No, I probably was like that slutty cousin from the U.S. You know what I mean? Like,
Also,
they're like, that's Megan. You know?
Where was the wedding held?
Well, in Goa.
Oh,
In
okay.
Goa at like some giant outdoor place.
Beautiful.
You know? Beautiful. No. I don't know. That's I'm not going to answer that question.
Make sure.
Oh, how much have I suffered? Not that much. I feel like I'm doing all right. You know?
No.
In this interview or like outside of this interview?
I think you're doing okay. I think we need to pull back some
This
layers
is
to
a
get
B plus. This is a B plus interview. Yeah.
So let me just tell you, I was at a club one time and I was hitting on the South Asian woman.
Okay, how'd
Right?
that go?
I was this is like the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Right. So
You were hot.
Early 2000s, I was hot. You know, I had the hairline. You know, and if you touch my hair, it felt like sweet. It felt like sweet. You never want to go
Plus you
against
got
the
those
grain.
eyelashes. You were bending back.
Turtleneck too.
Yeah.
Sleeveless turtleneck. One tattoo, lion head right here. That shifted over as I grew. Yeah. So yo, so I'm hanging out. It's an underground spot. Guess who's DJing at the spot? Give me a random. Okay, I'm not gonna bore you with the trying to answer shit. Q-Tip from a Tribe Called Quest.
What?
Now, why you want to go and do that?
Fuck
Do that. He was
you.
DJing.
No.
Yeah.
So anything was possible that night.
Anything was possible. I walk into the spot. I had beaded curtains.
Yeah.
And I walk in. I got the turtleneck. I got the hair that feels like suede.
Yeah.
I got the drink
got the
pinky
tattoo.
ring
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Whew.
Pinky ring.
Yeah, and the pinky ring was inspired by Wu-Tang Clan's RZA, the producer, so it was pointy on the end. Yeah.
You had all the accessories you needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I see this, I see this young lady, and she's South Asian, and we're talking. We're having a good time. We're flowing. And I'm buying drinks, $20 drinks. Like, my Petland money was going quickly.
Yeah. Where was this?
At a spot in the village.
Okay.
And, from one moment to the next, she just left my ass. Yeah. So I'm
Why?
like, I don't know. I don't
She
know.
didn't like your
You know, I
turtleneck?
spit when I talk. Do you know this?
Well, you've been wearing a mask because he's really responsible. So I did not know that.
I love the mask.
Yeah.
You know
I kind
what?
of like the mask too, to be honest.
I like the mask. I don't have to act like I could just be.
Yeah.
My mouth could be ajar. Is that appropriate for saying if your mouth is open, or that's more for a door?
A jar? No,
Yeah.
a jar you can use in
Ah,
any which
I mean, I'm going-
Permission to use a jar.
I mean,
yeah.
I just thought you'd be impressed with that wordage.
I'm so impressed right
know what
now.
I'm saying? 'Cause
On
you're
the
a
inside.
wordsmith.
I am.
Okay. All right, now moving along.
But when you wear the mask, we also don't know what you're thinking of us.
Yeah, that's
you
what I
know
like.
What I mean,
because I could be like this, frustrated. Because as you know, I train you and a bunch of other people. So if I'm frustrated with your bullshit combination punching, I'll be like this,
yeah. He's never
clenching my teeth, and he's like, "Oh my god, so just so patient." And meanwhile, I'm like this, having a fit, a stroke behind the mask.
I can actually tell when you're completely
'cause I do this with my
checked
eyes.
out. Yeah.
I like the fact that I can eat everything bagel, not worry about my teeth because I got the mask on. Bang bang.
This is like a good campaign to keep the mask.
Exactly. If you're a cocaine user, my cocaine users, if you're listening, the mask is great because you could click on your jaw all night long. You could do that work. No one's gonna know. Look.
Also, if you get a nosebleed the next day, wear a dark mask.
Yeah,
'Cause somebody might find out. You know,
That's
like
true.
if you're at your baby cousin's baptism, for example, in Jersey City, a mask would have been really helpful. Just saying.
You could blame your stuffy nose. Oh man, this mask is really you could blame it on the mask.
Yeah.
Tight on your face.
It's not a good look.
Anyway, so I'm at the club and she just leaves me and she's talking to some other dude. So I got mad.
Oh yeah.
I was embarrassed.
Was he
She
South
shamed
Asian?
me. He was South Asian.
Yeah, she's like, I trust this guy.
Yeah.
I get it.
So I went up to them.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit, but not like, like you're my property. I was like, yo, I said what I was. And she was like, she acted so disgusted. So I think it was her boyfriend. And he was acting like, hey, dude, you want me to buy you a drink? He was super polite, nice. And I was like, I'm saying, like, I was drunk.
Yeah, it sounded like you weren't you were the bad guy in this
I was being
situation.
naughty. All I know that I went outside to smoke a cigarette and she was out there with him and it was snowing in the middle of February and I threw snowballs at them.
You did? Can I just tell you? I talked to Deepti about it because obviously we all know each other, and she says she forgives you. And now they're married and they have 3 beautiful children.
Yeah. Maybe I could do a comedy skit for them. For their kids' Sweet 16.
I don't know. They're physicians, so I don't really think they need that. But yeah.
Yeah, so that's my
So that's your one South Asian story? Okay.
Yeah, and she was so annoyed when me throwing snowballs at them.
Yeah. First of all, New York City snowballs are disgusting. So.
No, it was fresh virgin snow. It was coming from the sky.
Virgin
It was
snow.
like
Beautiful. Your stories about the village are like apps, like it's like a whole other New York.
Yeah, I was right. And so all you
wild.
saw was the light on my leather, on my peacoat
wore leather.
Yeah, a peacoat leather. It was open, turtleneck. My hat was
Damn.
still in the club. I had a Kango that taxi drivers wear, and my light was
seen
highlighted
photos
by the
from this era.
Wendy's sign.
Yeah.
And I was throwing snowballs at them.
Do you know that when I go to Tompkins now, I like clock every corner of the Tompkins from like a story you told me about that corner. I'm like,
Yo.
this is where Sergio got jumped. This is where, like literally like I walk through that park now like full of Sergio stories. Like you should do a tour.
One thing I have is a bunch of stories.
You got a lot of stories.
I was gonna say baby girl, but then I was like, is that misogynistic? I don't know. I can't say baby girl.
Permission, you're allowed. Yeah, but
God,
only because it makes me
boring.
feel really young.
Baby girl.
Yeah.
Baby girl.
You haven't really asked me about any boxing stuff. I don't know if you're going to edit this out. But.
No, I do want to
is
ask
fine.
you. Which, by the way, I gotta tell you, I've managed to put myself in a position. Listeners, become inspired by this. To put myself in a position where I earn a living doing things that I absolutely enjoy, and I meet wonderful people. So I train Megan and a bunch of other lovely young professionals who are just great at what they do, and there's such great energy. I know it sounds sarcastic,
No,
but I'm being totally fucking awesome.
It's an amazing group of women.
Yeah, it really is, and you guys are fucking awesome.
And everyone's like super witty. Like we're on a group chat together. I'm like in the middle of typing some like fly comeback, and somebody is already like just like reaming you, and I'm like, wow, I guess Kimberly got there before me. I don't have to do the work.
You and Kimberly are hard on me. Shout out to Kimberly.
Yeah.
Pain in my ass. Milo's veterinary. You're doing a great job with her. She works there. She's also a dog walker.
Oh, you were telling me
and
that,
also a
yeah.
dog trainer.
Yeah.
You know, but I absolutely love working with you guys, right? So you guys are doing the boxing. The growth is watching you guys grow. You know, is a lot of fun. I just can't wait to put you to spar some hobo at Tompkins.
I was gonna say, like, what would you like? How far are we from like being in a fight? Be honest.
Oh, you got a long way to go.
What the fuck? No, really? Like in a real fight? Like not like a
you know what?
spar fight?
So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put on the mouthpiece because I gotta protect these teeth. And I'm gonna put on the headgear, and I'm gonna put on the cup, right? Mm-hmm. And the cup looks like a red diaper,
cool.
And you know because you know you girls start swinging those things,
visualization.
And, yeah. I may want to have more kids. You don't know what the future holds.
Yeah, I know.
So you know I gotta protect myself, and I'm gonna let you throw some punches. You know I'm like a ghost, so I hope you enjoy shadow boxing because hitting me is like trying to go after something that really ain't there.
We'll see. I'm kind of a spaz. I think I could come at you. You know. So you're saying far away. Okay, continue.
No, we're going to do it this week.
Okay,
I'm going to put on the headgear.
Let's do it.
Move the mic a little closer to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, act like you've done a podcast before.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. Yes, I really do enjoy working with you guys. And I never thought that I would want to instruct and be a teacher. Have you thought about that with your students? Like, oh, was this something you always wanted to do or just kind of fell in?
Yeah, I mean, I love teaching, except on some days where I'm like, I can't believe I've committed myself to this demographic where they're having the same epiphanies. You know, like after a while, when you're teaching 18 to 22-year-olds over and over again, they're kind of like, they're going through a lot of the same shit, you know?
Yes.
So you're kind of like, you know, it would be nice in a way to teach like maybe older people or like graduate students or something.
Interesting
like
that you should say that.
Group. But your thing is always dynamic and fun. You don't know who's going to show up. Like all the women that you teach are like, they have like these fucking
They're all named Megan. I know who's going to show up.
She does show up a lot. But no,
they're all named Megan, just spelled differently.
A lot of H's out there.
So it's so funny.
Are we talking again about the royal interview? Is that the Megan we're going to talk about? It's dominating the headlines right now.
Yo, you think the other students are going to be judged that you got on the podcast? I'm not bringing everyone on the podcast. It's going to be like the Wu-Tang
I do
Clan.
think there's like this low key, like kind of like jealousy of like who they think is closest to you. Like it's real low key because obviously we all love each other and support each other, but everyone's always like, I see you're joking a lot with so and so today.
That's adorable.
Like, so cute. Yeah.
But you know what's funny that you mentioned the 22? I want to say this because I'll forget because I'm old. When I used to do college shows and I you know had
can you relate to them anymore?
Hell no. And so if I was spewing some dirtbag shit because that's the label of the comedy, I could tell these kids are probably going through like this spiritual or political awakening, and they're holding that shit close to them. Yep. So if I'm saying some dirtbag shit or there's some funny shit, they may be a little offended by it.
Well, do you think that comedy is like a place where people can like voice their unconscious thoughts or like kind of
yes, I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a comedian.
But you know,
but you know, I'm not a comedian.
You know, so that guy, that poet you were talking about earlier, got in trouble because supposedly he was saying racist things. Do you think? I
mean, he wasn't supposedly.
So should that be canceled altogether?
I don't even know, like, I don't like even participate in that language of like cancellation. What I'm saying is that like before we go after like whatever, like do whatever thing, like one also has to like think like what the fuck are we getting off on? Yeah. You know, like once the 100th person was slamming him, like part of me is like, what are we getting off on right now? There's like something weird and voyeuristic and mobby about it. Right. I mean, I didn't say, I didn't even post on that shit. I held disgust for what he wrote. Yeah. And when I ran into him, like there's like a conference at a reading, you know, and like, I'm sure he knew that like, I wasn't a huge fan of what he did or what he said, but also like, that's just not my role. That's not who I am. I'm just like not the kind of person who's going to like, pile on. It's not like I'm pissed off.
I'm the same way. I don't get off on like joining that and hammering. Even
it's
if
just not where I want to put my energy because it poisons me. That's what I mean. You know,
and that's exactly right. You know, I just feel when you get involved with that kind of cult mentality or whatever, and even if you agree, it could really drain you.
it can drain you, and also like again, like I can like put my energy into like the perfectly written social media post, like annihilating that dude, because like I also know how to do that. Ask anybody who I've ever been in a fight with. They're like, yo, you with words, that's like a weapon.
You'll break up some
I will
Meg
read
Fernandes
you.
is tough.
I will read you to filth, and then I'll be out of there before you can make a comeback. Anyways,
You'd be blocked, motherfucker.
yes, but like I can do that. What I'm saying is that like those of us who are good with words also got to be careful with words, right?
Yeah.
You got to be careful with what you're good at, because like you can also really damage like not just yourself, but also like a sense of like what you want the world to look like, or justice or reparation or whatever it is. Like I'd rather like spend my words on like the people that I think are doing things that are enlightening people, or you know what I mean? Like it's also like we only have so much energy, you know?
Right.
We only have so much energy.
Right. And it could be put and creative.
It can be what it
endeavors.
can be. It can be creative endeavors, but also, you know, don't the self poison of it is really the mark of like
Creatively,
whatever.
are you really hard on yourself? Or can you compose things and feel good about it and just let go, or do you hold on to it? Like you got a couple of books out.
Yeah, but
Do you feel like it took forever to put out, or was it like
no? Actually, no. You know why? Because I'm also just like believe in ephemerality. Like I believe like we're all gonna die.
I know, big words? and
Don't
shit.
give a like
I'm gonna
how
be a
much
thesaurus
of
for her.
listen. Like I'm gonna write a poem. There's poems I've written that I'm like meh, and there's poems I've written that I really fuck with still and think like that's a great poem.
Ooh.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, like it's fine. Like we're all gonna die. I don't think of myself as like someone who will be like so important that I need to be thinking about like my canonical fucking legacy. How arrogant would that be? Be like,
Right.
will this poem like you know? Maybe the poem's okay for now. Maybe all the poem means is that it'll be okay for like September 2018. That's fine.
this? I like.
Fine, you know?
Have you always felt like this, or this is a epiphany you had recently within the last 6 hours?
Yes, just in your presence. That's where all my epiphanies come from. It's like Sergio walks into the room and all of a sudden it's like my synapse is on fire.
You're welcome.
No, I mean, I don't know. I always had like
that's a gem right there.
relationship, right? With your
Yeah.
creativity. How about you?
No,
See how I
that-
turn this around?
You don't like
How
it?
about you?
I hold on to shit that works, and I don't like to try anything new because I'm scared to death.
Okay. What
No,
about when you bomb? That's like comedy is like the bravest shit to me.
Yeah.
Because you kind of you're going into an audience you don't know. Like I
Yeah.
know my students like every day. You know every week you see them, but
Yeah. So what?
look at you not even answering my.
No. I am. I'm thinking about it. So the stand-up scene opportunities are scarce. So the shows I've been doing lately, I played it relatively safe with shit that I know. But there's nothing like trying something new that feels so good. So I pepper those in. But I'm not courageously creative as I would like to be. That's the.
What would you like to do that you
I
don't
would
think
like-
you can do?
I would like to be a free spirit on stage and people just to get it. But you got to do it over and over, a lot of it. And I haven't been doing it over and over.
You mean you got to rehearse a lot?
You got to do stand up a lot to be great at it. And I haven't been doing it a lot. And
Because of timing? Like because of like
because of COVID.
oh
Because the world is shut down because someone decides to eat a stranger animal.
oh my god no! But seriously, like you have to rehearse even in non-COVID times because like
Oh yeah, and I'm not diligent that way. Are you? Do you write every day? Are you writing every day?
no.
Yeah, I know. I wish it was. I'm trying to get
I
better.
live in New York, baby. There's a lot of bars to go to.
There's a lot.
busy out
There's a lot of
here.
outdoor establishments to hit up.
100, yeah.
You know, so I wish I was better. I wish I was a little more diligent with writing and reading. I'm reading a lot more. I just finished
I read a
David
lot,
Goggins.
yeah.
Yeah, you're a well-read person.
I read more than I write, which is interesting, I think. You know?
Yeah.
But it affects my writing. I'm sure it does for you too.
Yeah, listen, I read, when I read and write, I'm a lot more fluid with my words. I'm articulate. I'm able to internalize and appreciate, and my perspective is just sharper.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when I neglect it, I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. And also like it's good to like, flex.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, what have you been doing? And they're like watching some shitty Netflix show and you're like, I don't know. I just got through like the third Ferrante novel.
Do you look back? So if you do a reading, will you look back and listen to yourself, or do you have a hard time listening?
Oh,
It's
I
hard,
hate
right?
listening to myself. I hate it. That's trash.
I
don't
know,
wanna
but
do
it makes you so much better.
Maybe. I mean, I also think like one of the things I hate is that everything's being recorded right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hate that like on Zoom and shit, everyone's like, can we record this?
Yeah.
What I loved is going to a reading and just being like, this is just tonight. And like what happens tonight lives and dies with the people who are here tonight. And like just like the intimacy and the risk of that. I love that. But like now, like everything is like archived, including this conversation. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything's like archived forever. And I'm a little bit like, you know, you can never really be with yourself in that way, you know?
That's interesting that you say that. Because there's so much truth to that.
It's a little like we're kind of living in like a surveillance-y culture moment, right? Like, I don't know. You can't really ever be free. You know, like you have friends who can say anything to you.
Right.
Like you can say your dark shit to you. You can say when you fucked up, which we all fuck up, by the way. Can be like, oh, I fucked up. Or you did something that you're like embarrassed about, right? Or you hurt somebody that you loved. You know your friends, you can say that too. That's kind of how I feel about like those audiences, like where you go in and then like everything that's on is just on for that night and then you leave.
And people behave differently when the camera's on. They
100 they do. They behave like professionals. What's worse for art than that?
Yeah.
Professionalized artists, like fuck off.
Yeah,
like that's not
right.
I would have gone into like a much more well-paying career if I had to do that, you know.
That's why this podcast is going to be such a great episode because it was like professionalism.
No.
On my part.
Yeah, he just moved over his microphone.
What's the name of the book that you did?
Good Boys.
Good Boys? She liked the boys, you know what I'm saying?
They're so good. It's definitely not ironic at all. No.
What have you learned from the boxing? What have I taught you about life?
You taught me? Can I just say honestly?
Which, by the way, I want to thank you. You know, she's so fucking. This woman is great. She had me demonstrate my boxing techniques in front of her students.
Yes, on Zoom.
She trusted me with that.
On Zoom, and he didn't even say anything inappropriate or embarrassing about me.
They
loved you.
I loved them, and I loved you for that. You trusted me with that. That was fucking dope. I appreciate that.
They loved
and,
you.
And she pays well.
Okay.
I only had to remind her 15 times, where's my money? Where's my money?
Listen, I paid him immediately after class. Don't listen to him. Very responsible.
I was outside her window like, yo, Megan.
Oh my God.
Where's my bread?
I was teaching a class
my high like that.
On endorphins that week, and I was like, what a better way to think about endorphins than boxing, you know?
Right.
Boxing, honestly, though, has like changed a huge part of my life. I am not a person who I ever thought like gave a shit about sports, fitness culture, whatever. But like I would go to these like yoga studios and like all these just like annoying white women, like just talking in like terrible fucking like Sanskrit, and I was like, this shit is just not for me. Yeah. And like bar studios,
what's that when they talk like this? Yeah,
they're just like the spiritual part of like, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like also because I'm like a little mean, and I like a kind meanness, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and I hate a fake enlightenment. Oh, God. You know?
It's the worst. I'd rather be a complete dirtbag and just be rude and be like cruddy. But if you're like,
yes, I'm so happy you're all here with me today. I'm like, I don't know you, Rebecca.
Oh my God, that is terrible. I guess, you know what? Maybe some people just talk like that, but I cringe.
But that's, I think, like a thing that happens a lot with women in fitness culture is they talk to you like you're a fucking 6-year-old.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm like, these bitches in here are like literally lawyers who have children who are like they're doing so many things. They're doing elder care. They're doing child care. Why are you talking to this woman like she's a dumbass?
You know? What? You're fucking right. That's right.
True.
Also, when you text, do you use exclamation points a lot? Exclamation
Are you
points?
accusing me of something?
Do you?
No, I don't.
Why can't I say that word? Exclamation point.
Exclamation.
Exclamation.
Exclaimed.
Exclamation points.
Yeah.
Do you use them a lot in text?
No, I don't.
Because I read a meme that said you shouldn't type, or women shouldn't type with exclamation points. You're not like, it sounds super girly, or like you don't always have to be excited. Men don't do that. Neutralize it or something. And I found that interesting. You know why? Because I use them.
Well, first of all, I disagree with that critique because there's nothing wrong with being girly. I want to be able to be girly and also not be talked to like an idiot and not equate girliness with idiocy, right?
I just want to sound excited when I text you.
Yes, you do sound excited. Sometimes
but I have you noticed in the group chats and
your group chats, you just like trying to get your spelling right. Let's just be honest.
Yo, Sergio King Typo Chicone. all day, every day.
Your typos are also hilarious. Like what you'll choose, and I'm like, that's actually kind of beautiful what you just said. And then like 2 minutes later, you're like, I meant this other thing.
Yeah, I'm a little rough around the edges.
No, not on your group chat. Your group chat's hyper professional, I think. I mean, despite not being, proofread, but like usually hyper
You need a
professional.
job? I'm gonna hire you.
I'm good, but that's what's good about boxing. Everyone, you walk in, it's a little intimidating at first, but like nobody talks to you like you're an idiot. In fact, it's the opposite. People will like yell, yell at you to like do a thing, but not in like an unloving way. They just want you to do something right.
Now there's a structure to it, there's a foundation, but you are free, like your poetry, to improvise and express it how you want. What kind of fighter you want to be? You want to be fast? Use your speed. You want to be a banger? Dang, dang, dang. Hammer your way up. You want to be defensive. You want to be sneaky.
Yeah, that's...
You want to, you want to be a little showboaty. There's attitude in fighting.
There's swag. It's a super fucking swaggy sport.
Yeah.
You just walk in there and like everybody has swag.
Yeah.
Like and like even if you don't have it, you develop it. Because you can't do that sport without swag.
Right.
Because in a way, you're kind of like, it's a persona sport.
Right.
And
it reveals a lot of who you are.
Oh,
it reveals the truth.
Even when you're doing partner work, you have like everyone has a rhythm. So like, me and like Rochelle will like, we'll like, when we're doing it together, it's one thing. I know her rhythm because we know each other really well. Yeah. If you partner out with somebody new, it's like having to learn a whole other like time chord. You know what I mean?
It's like a dance.
It is like a dance. It's not unlike that. And also I think a lot of people who have like a lot of darkness in them go to that sport and find something there. And I think that's interesting too. Right. A lot of writers like it, and a lot of people who have seen some shit really like it.
Absolutely.
Like some of those people in that gym, like fuck, when they talk, I'm like, you've seen some shit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think
you come back from some shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're able to tap into that, it can make you great at that. Just like, it's the same with writing and with stand-up. I think you got to, really be present and, tap into those hardships in order to like make sure that you're equipped with the tools necessary in order to engage and move forward in the sport and the writing with stand-up. I'm a firm believer in that. I always keep a little bit of like pain. And I think that's why I'm so open about it. You're open like that as well. Like you're open about it.
About pain? Yeah, I'm a poet.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm a poet, yeah.
Yeah, it's super important.
100.
People who like close off, I'm like, you're fucking boring and you're faking it.
Yeah. And also, but like, I remember reading this thing by Joyce Carol Oates, like on boxing, where she was like, the boxer fights a dream distortion of himself. And I thought that was like so beautiful. Like she was talking about like shadow boxing. She's like, when you're shadow boxing, even if you have an opponent, like you're always fighting some projection of some sort of side self, parallel self that like you're trying to figure out. And it was like this amazing, to me, like illustration of like how I think about the sport, because it's kind of true, there is an opponent, there is like a shadow thing there, but it's also like you're really trying to like everyone's trying to work out something about them.
Yeah, yeah. And I think we found your tattoo. We're gonna put that right on your neck. What do you think? St. Mark's, here we come.
I don't know about word tattoos. I would
like
to.
This, like what I have on my forearm, and every time I go to a fucking bar, like, oh my god, what does that say on your arm?
That's why he got it.
And I'm like, that,
so
what?
all the South Asian ladies at the bar can come over and be
I'm like, yo, PG,
yeah,
PG.
exactly.
That's not even a real South Asian name. I'm just being
Deep D. Her name is Deep D.
Or yeah, that's a good one. You taught me on that.
Yeah.
Do you want to share anything before we close this out and walk down the Fifth Avenue together? What do you want to share? We all walking together because it'd be awkward if we leave the building together. And I'm like, oh, I'm going downtown, but I'm gonna go uptown first.
We live down in the village. Do I want to share something? No.
Yeah. Your readings, perhaps?
No, I don't want to share anything.
Why not? Why you be so antisocial at the end of the podcast?
First of all, I didn't bring my fucking book because you didn't tell me to. But I will say.
Well, what's the name of the book and how can people find it?
The book is Good Boys.
I can't hold your hand through life.
It was published by Tin House in 2020 of last February.
Nice.
So you should get the book because it's full of like a lot of dirty, painful, sad girl shit that you can feel really good about your own life if you read it. So that's what people really want, you know?
Yeah.
Because comparison is the thief of joy. But with my book, they're just like, oh,
I wouldn't know about that. I'm real confident.
Yeah, he's real confident. Edit that part out. But no, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Meg, get a bomb boogie. I appreciate you. And we out of here. DBS Podcast, Frank Lounge Network, Sound Lounge Studio, Be Frank Network.
We're gonna edit this out too.
Sound Lounge Studio. It's all good. I like when it's rough and gritty like that. That's the way it is. DBS Podcast, The Chacon Show. We out of here. Peace.